Bro, I mean, I can already think of like 10,000 cool things to do with that. These SDKs are just worth it for just this already. I'm sold. I mean, let's just look at it for a second because it's just the best. So nostalgic. If somebody can make that, oh, I don't know. I will pay you a lot. I can already think of like 10,000 cool things to do with that. Please, that's huge.
Check this thing out.
All right, let me start with a crazy one. This guy, Sebastian Tomchuk, I hope I'm saying that right. He goes by Little Scale. He has some insane SDKs. It just popped up on my feed the other day, and I figured I'd just throw these in real quick. Let me make sure I got this page up. Yeah, so if you go to his Instagram here, you can click on his link tree, which will take you to this GitHub here, which is over here. And then you just click on repositories, and here are all his SDK extensions. And you can just go in here and grab all of these. So just click on, if you don't know, I mean, just GitHub stuff is confusing. So maybe just click on one of these and it'll take you to this page. And you can click on each of these and then just go Shift Command S. And then it'll start the download. This first one is called Spectral Morph. By the way, I have really no idea how to use these yet. I just kind of messed around with them for 2 seconds. So go do your worst. Like, just go mess with them yourself. Anyway, you have these 2 files here, and you can kind of just morph them together, which I love morphing. So anything more morph is more morph and awesome. So anyway, here, Spectral Morph. Click on that. You get this window. I don't know, tweak it, whatever. Analyze, and you get this window. And you got like a strength slider here, and basically like an A, B. On the left is just the A, and then on the right it's just B. And then you get these different sort of spectral whatever tools and whatever. Honestly, I haven't looked into it too much, but hey, whatever. Just let's render that, and you get this file. Oh, by the way, here's the original. And this is the other one. It's just some random files, and this is the morph of the 2. And I made this one earlier. That was a weirder one. I mean, just ridiculous. Anyway, have fun with that one. The other one was called Reconstruct. And I think for that, this one's kind of crazy. So you have to select more files. And let me see, Reconstruct. This one's wild. I'll just show you what it does. He went to transients and spectrum, so I did the same thing and I tried it. And here, let's see what happens. So, okay, again, let me just go back. And here's the actual files that I'm using. Like a 90s loop or whatever that I made. And then just some vocal chops or whatever. I don't know. Who knows? That's it's basically like almost like triggering the vocal chops with the drum loop. So you can kind of like layer that under it maybe. Ridiculous. Okay, then there's Spectral Editor, which is really interesting. This isn't even the coolest one. So the coolest one is this last one, which is, it's actually 2. Slice at Transients. There's a few of these now. There's a bunch of people making the same ones. But his is the best one so far that I've seen. Like, this is what you want to see for strip silence, by the way, too. Like, I want to see this view because it's so hard to see where it's going to cut if you just have the threshold. So here you see the sensitivity. Oh, like that's how it's supposed to work. And you can hold and you can gate, which is really cool. For this example, actually don't want to use gate because there's a really, really dope thing that like his last thing is actually crazy. And it's like, I want to show you this example of it. So I'm not going to gate this. So let me just make random, maybe I'm going to make a lot of them because this is good for this example. So, okay, I'm going to slice. There you go. Exactly what you would want. And I think these are unwarped too, which is great. You want that. So anyway, now
check this thing out.
This is wild to me. Extensions and sort by. So it's analyzing every single one of those clips that I highlighted. Let me just show you what it does. Watch, like length and then order. Check it out. Look at that. Let me play that for you because you already know what it is. I mean, I can already think of like 10,000 cool things to do with that. Like, bro. But I mean, for sample organization stuff, like here, let's try this again. So you can keep doing this. So just let's sort it again. I'm actually very curious to do this by the timbre. It's pretty quick too. So group by similarity. So it does it by timbral similarity. I don't know how it's doing that, but let's click apply. Yeah, so it's analyzing the timbre, I guess. Whoa. That's crazy sound. That's a cool sound already. I might have to use that for something. Huge shout out to Little Scale. This guy's a full goat. I mean, mad props. While we're here, actually, I was going to show this in a different spot, but since we got these clips here, I want to show you one other SDK, which is, so useful for me and for obviously a lot of other people, especially if you're making like sample packs or whatever. This is so sick. I used to have to do this with other programs. But anyway, like, you know, when you have like a long Foley recording or something and you want to make one shots out of that, I mean, how are you going to do that, right? Like, you're going to cut all that stuff up and then export, like, how are you going to export those? Each clip, you know, individually, one at a time? No. There's workarounds to it previously, but now you just have this SDK that does it for you. So anyway, I'll show it with this example first here. So, you know, we already made these slices. And I believe actually I should just be able to highlight all these now, because I think previously it took everything on that track, and I have a bunch of other stuff over here. But let's see if this will work here. It kind of was buggy for me at first, so I don't know if this will work. But let's try. Extensions. See, it's so difficult finding these. So Smart Batch Export, there we go. Boom. Look at that. Yes. Okay, so it's rendering, and it's going to save them into the Ableton file you created. So, you know, if you didn't create a file, you can just go to your current project and show in Finder, and it'll take you there. But anyway, so they'll be in, I believe, imported. Yeah, so these are all those slices there. There you go. They're in there. The amount of time that's going to save me and 30 billion other people is insane. Like, these SDKs are just worth it for just this already. I'm sold. And we haven't even scratched the surface yet. I mean, these have been out like a couple days, and people are already doing all this amazing stuff. So this is one of the sickest things, I think, that exists now. Somebody ported Paul Stretch into Ableton, so it's like built in now, which is so dope. It's one of the best tools ever. All right, so here's just like a random vocal sample. Jump over mountains and rush over walls. And now, if we go to Paul Stretch, if you don't know what Paul Stretch is, well, you've been missing out for about 20, 30 years or something. I don't know. It's insane. I'm not going to explain how this works. I'm just going to click apply, and you'll see what it does, because that's all that really matters. And here we go. It's the best. It's the best ever. I could do a whole tutorial on how I use this, but mess around with it. It's the best. That's all I'll say. It's now built in. It's so cool. All right, so one of the cool new things here with the SDKs is for mixing purposes. And I do a little bit of mixing here and there, and enough to where this kind of stuff is extremely useful. And so I just wanted to show you this stuff, because clearly somebody who is mixing a lot has made these SDKs, because this is so helpful. But here I just brought in some examples of like some stems that I made at one point, for this song, Taste for Blood. Yeah. Anyway, so I didn't bring in all of them, but just as an example here, I got like this amount of drums, and I think there's a couple basses here. And so basically, there's a long list of order of operations that I go through when I import mix stems. And a lot of the times, unfortunately, when you get files from producers, they're not really labeled very well. And the worst case scenario would be this kind of situation where you just have like literally it just says audio. And that's obviously not what you want. And so that can be kind of frustrating. Obviously, like, there's not a tool that can really like actually identify that this is a kick drum, this is a snare, and these are effects. So you do have to manually label those. Oftentimes what you want is you want this audio clip as well to be named that track name. And there's Max for Live tools that already do that, but there's just like some nice things that you can now do. So there's like extra features basically. So let me just really quickly give these tracks names. All right, so there, I just named the tracks. And so now what you can do is instead of using these Max for Live tools, you can highlight all these tracks and then just click on the extension, assign track names, rename all clips. So when I click this, boom, there you go. The clip names are now the track names. So that's super handy. Now you can render them back and they'll actually stay within the file name. But there's another thing you can do now, which is called, I'm going to keep saying this so many times, but I wish there was a way to customize how these appear. At least put them alphabetical or something or anything, please. Okay, yes, this one. So this one's another handy tool. So like if I, for example, want to export stems and I want those stems to have the date, for example, on them, I can add a suffix here or on a prefix, maybe just my initials or something or whatever, a number here. You can choose if it's all uppercase or title case or whatever. Some cool stuff you can do. So now if I click apply to all, now the track names are here. And now you can just do the rename thing again if you want the clip names to go. So you can't select the actual tracks, you have to select the clips for the clips to be renamed. Boom, there you go. So now when you export the stems, it'll have the date on them, which can be important when you're sending out multiple versions. You know, you want to know which one are you referring to. So anyway, that's super handy. The next thing that you probably want to do before you get to mixing is actually like organizing these a little bit better. So I usually have drums at the top. And what I'll do is what I used to do is I would max out this waveform display here so I can see these blocks really clearly. And I would just, get rid of all the dead space. And there's ways to do that kind of faster, but not really. Like you just have to manually do it before. There was a strip silence tool from Matt Zoe. It was a Max for Live tool, but it never really worked very well for me. If somebody got it to work, great, but it just didn't ever really work for me. It was very slow. I know he tried to update it a couple times, but it only worked really one track at a time. And yeah, anyway, but now we have some strip silence tools, finally. But they're also not as fast as Pro Tools is. So I don't know what the limitation for this is. Hopefully they can make it snappier. And there's a couple things that I wish these people who are making these SDKs would implement. Namely from like the feature that I showed you earlier, Little Scales tool, which was that transient tool where you could actually visually see where the transients went. Slides of transients, I think it was. Doobie-doobie-doop. It's kind of a long file, so let's see how it works. How well it detects this stuff. I haven't tried it with a longer file. Duck at 70. Oh, there we go. Yay. But, so this is actually interesting. I wish you could zoom in. See, this is another annoying thing about these SDKs so far. You cannot make this window any bigger. Can't zoom. So I can't really see how well those transients are actually placed here. So that's kind of a problem. Like if you want to do any real granular work, especially with the gate, like you're not going to see that. So I'm sure this will get fixed. But anyway, so this is what I want to see on the strip silence tools, right? So theoretically, what you could do, let's see, if I go hold, yeah. You can't really do it here, but this is what I want to see. So anyway, let me cancel that. That's not what we want. And we're going to go to, so far at least, there's two strip silence tools that I've seen. One is the strip silence PT, which is PT for Pro Tools, I'm guessing. And then one is just strip silence. I'll show you the PT one. This one is not as good. It has less features. And then here's the other one. It is just the strip silence. So this one has a little bit more stuff you can do. You can ripple edit, cut to the nearest beat, stuff like that. And again, so here, what I would want to see is like a visual representation of where those cuts are going to be made. Because when you move this threshold, you can't see anything, right? So you just kind of have to sort of guess. Let's just do, since this is actually stems, let's give it a little bit of pre-roll, I guess. I don't know. Let's try that. See what happens here. This is kind of like a trial and error thing, but it's kind of annoying because it takes a second to render. It's not super long, but still. See, like, look, that's not really actually what I want. I don't want each individual kick to be stripped like that. So So I would do that again. Basically, once you find, I find it at least, once you find one setting that's pretty close, then you can kind of just do it to all of them most of the time. But you just kind of have to find a setting that works. Yeah, no, it's not really doing it for me. I would like to be able to get those kicks. What if I have to do I make the maximum duration longer? I forget. Let me just mess around with this for a second, see if I can get something usable. If not, I'll just, oh, that's a little better. There you go. So that's pretty decent. Let's try now with all of them, see what happens. I'll show you how that works. Strip silence, boom. You can do cut to the nearest beat, but let's just try this. So looks like it's doing all of them, yeah, individually. So again, if you have like hundreds of tracks, this is super handy because you can just kind of click go and then go grab some coffee and it'll do it while you just chill for a second. Just like I said, it just might not get everything right, but you can always still fade them out and, do your manual edits. And so this will save you time. But yeah, let's see here. Let's see. It's almost done, I think. Boom. Look at that. That's actually really good. I think, okay, the front of these was a little cut, so I could have added a little bit more buffer there, I think. Okay, so I would tweak that before I had to do the whole thing. Looks like for some reason it made this an intro, but yeah, anyway, you get the point. So then what I would do is I would organize these. I like to organize them like chronologically, sort of, except for the kick and the snare and sort of stuff. Like, let's pretend these were vocals instead. I would actually treat them like this. I mean, this isn't a tutorial on mixing, but hey, if you want a tutorial on this kind of stuff, let me know. I will glad to make one. I just like to see things like chronologically go from the top left corner down. So this would have to come up here. Anyway, so it just makes it way easier to visually see what's happening when. And then, yes, one more fun mixing thing that I don't know. I'm curious about this. I'm curious if I'll actually use this, but check it out. So here's I'll play you this section here. Like oftentimes when you start a mix, I would have stuff on the master channel and I would want to hit the master channel at a certain volume and I would just kind of want to pre-mix stuff. So I would want to pull levels down usually so that it's hitting my first compressor on my master channel at like an optimal level. And so what I would do is I'd probably pull every track down a little bit, I don't know, usually, or maybe up, I don't know. And then I would maybe make a quick balance of everything. So let's check this out. Let me just zero these out for now. Okay, so let's say I like want to turn down these gallops or whatever a little bit. Let's go down 3.6 and then maybe I'll turn these basses like down by just, I don't know, 6 for the grins and giggles, just to show you. And let's say that's my like pre-mix. So that's like my initial balance. Now I can, there's a fun tool here and I find that it hasn't been working when I highlight these and then do it, even though that's how I think it should work. But I'll just show you without doing that because there's not much in this session. So if I go to extensions and go to fader collapse, watch. Okay, boom. So remember the gallop? That was down by minus 3.6. And now you can see down here at the left corner, there's a utility that's going down minus 3.6 decibels. And these basses are down by minus 5.89, which is what we went down, minus 6. And the main fader is at 0. So essentially, the mix is exactly the same as where we had it, but the faders on the right are 0. So this is super, super, super handy for, just keeping your session like kind of organized and clean and having, it's just nice having your faders at 0 so you can just use those for like main kind of adjustments. And I'm sure if you're using like actual faders, like you like using faders like controllers and stuff like that, super helpful. But I don't know, I'm curious if I'll actually use this. I might try it on my next mix just to see how I feel about it. Just kind of do like an initial balance or something and then group my stuff. Anyway, this isn't a tutorial on how to mix or how to prep for mixes, but I have a whole list of like an order of operations that I do pretty much every time. So I'm curious how these SDKs are going to start adding into that sort of stuff. No, but those are super, super handy. I mean, the strip silence thing, I mean, please, that's huge. So I'm very excited about that. Device manager. This one's huge, actually. This one's very epic. I hope they reiterate on this. And if you're a developer on this kind of stuff, please, hear me out. There's a lot of cool things that we should be able to do, hopefully, that are like Pro Tools-esque. So, for example, in the this view, if we go to device slots, I mean, first of all, this is super annoying. Like what happens is like, you can't actually see these devices unless you go like this, highlight, and then open them up. Now you can see the utilities here, right? In Pro Tools or in any other DAW, if I want to add, let's say, an auto-tune to all these tracks, I can like, you know, right click here and then just, you know, add a tool, like any plugin to all of these that I highlight. Or if I want to copy, you know, if I Command C on this utility and then highlight all these and then Command C, it should add the utility to these, but it doesn't work like that. There should be all these features on how you can add plugins or deactivate them and all this. But now there's a kind of a thing, kind of. Device Manager. So here we go. If I click in search and I go to utility, well, now it's really just utilities, but I can go to here and I can disable this one device, enable it or delete it, or all instances, this is the key one. So I can disable all of the utilities in this entire session. Boom. So now you can see all of them died. If I want to, I wish you could actually keep that open because this is a super useful one to just have up. If I just want to delete all of the utilities, I just click on one of them and then go delete all. Boom. So now all the utilities are just been erased. So this is like extremely useful. There's one specific instance that I know I will be using that a lot on, which is when I'm editing vocals, specifically when I'm vocalizing vocals inside of Ableton, which sucks still.
This is the worst.
I hope maybe somebody can make that better because you can't do it offline. You can't do the Melodyne trick or the Vovius trick or the Dynasis trick where you hit record on inside the plugin and then you freeze it and then you unfreeze it and the whole recording just went offline into the plugin. You can't do that with Vocaline for some reason. That's a whole other issue. But with Vocaline, there's one other thing that's annoying is basically I might have like 8, 13, 15, 16, whatever, however many like background vocals, and I'll have auto-tune on those. And then when I go to bounce down all of those, I have to one by one turn off the auto-tune on each one of those tracks because you can't disable those previously. Now you can. So now you can just hit auto-tune and then disable all of them and then bounce down the vocal line and then re-enable auto-tune inside this device manager. Yes. So that saves me, I don't know, some minutes of time. Again, still lots of things to wish for on the vocal line department. But hey, like, I don't know if you're, again, if you're a developer and you have some sort of solution for this, please help a bit out. Yeah, so that's a huge one though. This device manager thing is really sick. At least we're going in the right direction, guys. It seems like a lot of these first iterations of SDKs are people just kind of adding elements that they wish existed already. There's so many of them, but this one's an obvious one, but it's so helpful. Like, this is such a duh one, like 10 audio tracks and like whatever, a few MIDI tracks. Actually, can you do a separate Mountery? Oh, no, you can't. See, they need to fix that. But anyway, let's say I just want 10 audio tracks and I just want them to be called drums or whatever. I mean, that didn't exist. How dumb is that? But hey, now it exists. Waveform Editor, redraw selection. This is huge. So this is something that is, Pro Tools has had this forever again. In Pro Tools, for example, if you hear a click in a vocal, you can just draw it out. And this is something that has existed since the dawn of mankind. And now it exists in Ableton. Kind of. It's not quite as accurate, but here it is. So, again, I wish I could zoom in. I wonder if you can't, you can zoom in, but yeah, so it gets kind of weird and granular or whatever. This looks funky, and then once you get to a certain point, it becomes more clean all of a sudden. So I wish that didn't happen. And then I wish you could also just, again, make this way bigger, this window. So, because you can't see the detail clearly, but just as an example here, if I want to, let's say, I want to cut out that little click there. I can just draw with this pencil tool. I can just smooth out the front of that note. I mean, it's very slight, but if you have mouth clicks and stuff, you can sometimes just really quickly remove those in Pro Tools. And now you can kind of do that here. I mean, you can just go Obviously, that just destroys the waveform, but like you can do stuff like that now, which is very handy. There's also a stereo to mono splitter, which is pretty useful, I'd say. So here's like a random stereo file. Let me unwarp that maybe. Me just going nuts with some brushes, I think. It's called stereo splitter, split to mono tracks. Boom. I mean, it does exactly what you'd think it does. So here's the left side and here's the right side. You know, that's handy. There's also like a vocal writer. It's in here somewhere. There's different SDKs for different purposes. So if you click on a clip, audio clip versus a MIDI clip, that's different. If you click on an audio track versus a MIDI track, that's different. So I still haven't gotten the handle on like when to use what. But so for example, for this vocal writer thing, you have to go to the track and then you go to vocal print and ride. Yeah, so I believe it does like an offline processing thing. So yeah, feel free to try that. I haven't tried it. I don't see a use for that because I have Dynasist, which is so good for that. But there's like a million other little MIDI tools, and there's like a score editor, which kind of works and just hasn't really worked for me. Like I tried it a little bit. Here's some chords. And yeah, see, like that's not what it's supposed to look like. So I don't know. I might be using it wrong. I don't know. But this is awesome though. Still, like it's so cool that this is being implemented. Again, Logic has had this since day one. Pro Tools has had this since day one. These are all things that always should have been in here. But hey, it's cool. Ableton wasn't built for this kind of stuff. But hey, now it's like it's happening. It's happening, guys. So yeah, I'm not gonna show you a tutorial on this thing, but it's pretty sweet. Oh, what's up? Wait, I thought you were gonna
This is the one that
it's my wife, Niina. It's the best. Yeah, okay. I mean, if you need them now, just get them.
Yeah.
Good company, so yeah. Okay. Got sidetracked there. That was my wife. Ta-da! If you need Muay Thai tips, follow her. Just be careful. She will kick your ass. Anyway, there's another score tool as well. Sheet music. That one seems to have the same problem. I don't know. I might be doing something wrong. There's like a transpose MIDI thing, chord voicing helpers. I don't know what that is. I don't really need that kind of stuff. I like to just play myself. See, you got to click on the track, I think, for this one. Chord progression helper is a different one. Yeah, so you can create chords and then I guess write them to MIDI, but that function never worked for me. Again, I don't really need that. There's other tools for that. But hey, it's cool. They're making them. Chroma Flux. I don't know what that is. I have no idea what that is. It just tweaked my utility settings. I don't know. I gotta look that up. I don't know what that is, but it looks cool. Yeah, then there's like a bunch of fun tools. Like, I don't know. I haven't even tried half of these yet, honestly. Obviously, you can play a bunch of games. You can play Snake. You can play Doom. I mean, it's a meme at this point, right? I mean, whoa, 93. So I was like 6, I think, when this came out or something. I mean, let's just look at it for a second because it's just the best. So nostalgic. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's enough. I played it enough times already. I'm not going to waste any more time. There's a Tamagochi type of thing, which is called Beat Buddy, which is kind of fun and cute. Let's create random loop. I don't even know what this is. Free sound sampler. This is kind of like Splice, but for another website. What's Vivarium? Again, no idea what this is. Q templates, drop Q template. This is really fun, actually. Yeah, there's a bunch of ambient, cinematic, down tempo, trip hop, ambient, whatever, pop, rock, pop standard. Let's see what that does, because that's what I'm doing. Intro, verse, let's judge this. Intro, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, verse 2, pre-chorus, chorus, bridge, chorus, outro. Pretty good. No, that's pretty standard, I'd say. Maybe a post-chorus might be a good idea after chorus 2 or 3. Double chorus, at least on third chorus. Come on, guys. One thing you can do too is, which is handy here, you can just clear all the locators. But yeah, there's a bunch of other tools like arrangement ones. I haven't looked at this. Add section. So you could do it yourself here, I think. Create locators, add section, start points, custom name. Oh, I don't know. Oh, I think you can do like, wait, intro, verse, pre-chorus, and then a build, and then an outro, and then we're done. So let's see what happens. Create. It's kind of handy. I've seen people use this type of method. I've never done it, but that's actually, yeah, I don't mind that. It's a nice, it gives you a little bit more of a visual tool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. This also exists in a Max for Live already, but if you have deactivated clips, so if I just have a bunch of deactivated clips here, which is common, you can now remove those. I don't know how that actually works. Do you have to highlight them? Yeah, cool. That's pretty nice, because you used to have to do it with a Max for Live tool, so that's very handy. Oh, the stem separators don't work for me for whatever reason. They just don't work. There's a UVR one, and then there's an MVSEP one. I mean, if you get them to work, great. They're there. The MVSEP one is apparently really good. I haven't tried it, but I don't know. I mean, there's so many ways to do that, but hey, it's there. If you get it to work, let me know. Yeah, this guy Little Scale, by the way, he also has one other thing that seems really cool. I didn't try it. I didn't try to download it, but I think it's, well, this thing is crazy. Just look at this guy's page. He's doing some really cool stuff. Yeah, so you can, he's got this tool that basically calls, I think, the Stability AI API, and then it'll just generate, like, based off your prompts, whatever sound effects and stuff it looks like. Samples from prompts via batch and sweep generation locally. Pretty cool. I mean, this is the future, right? This is where it's heading. We're gonna have audio generation Suno style inside of Ableton, inside of the DAWs. I don't know who's gonna do it first and how they're gonna do it, but it's gonna happen, guys. I mean, of course. Like, of course it's gonna happen. People are already doing it. Like, come on. Since there's like a radio station thing you can use. Lets you sample radio stations. Let's see how this works. Let me just click capture. I don't think I'll ever use this, probably, because I don't know. I don't really do sampling too much, and I don't want to, get sued. Let's see. I don't know, it could be fun, though. Recorded, but could not create arrangement clip. Okay, that's weird. All right. I mean, it worked for me once, so I don't know why it didn't work this time. Let's try Yoink, because that's kind of a similar thing. Let's see. Let me grab a YouTube link here, if this works. That's not working either. That's annoying. Anyway, Yoink is cool, though. You can kind of like grab samples from YouTube. All right, that pretty much does it, honestly. There's probably 1,000 other things that exist by now. I wouldn't be surprised. If you want to mess around with these yourself, so go to Ableton's Discord, and over here on the left, go to the extensions gallery, and you will see everything. And most of the time, it'll be a link to somebody's GitHub, and then all you do is you download the file. It's usually like called, it's the file extension will be in .ablx, and you need one of those. And then all you do is you just go into your settings, and at the bottom at the extensions, you either choose the file here with the drop down, or you just drag and drop. So you open up your Finder and you just drag it in here like so. This one's already installed, so yeah, it's already in there. But you can also just find and open up these and then uninstall them. It looks like when you do like an update on one, you have to uninstall it and then install it again. That way it'll update. It won't replace it otherwise. But yeah, that's it. I mean, if you've been living under a rock and you didn't know about these, well, now you know. But yeah, I honestly think this is probably, I'm not alone in this. This is probably, if not the biggest update in Ableton, probably one of the biggest updates in Ableton since I can remember. Because this just enables so much. I don't know what the kinds of limitations for this are, honestly. I just don't know. Like, I know for a fact that there's certain things that people want, like everybody wants, like the shortcuts, for example. Right now, you can't, I don't think, shortcut any of these, which is a huge deal breaker, and that's absolutely has to be fixed. I think there's probably like some sort of workarounds to that. There's like a better touch tool that you could use probably, and maybe do some sort of mapping to get these to work already. But I mean, I'm not implementing any of this stuff into my like normal day-to-day workflow yet anyway, because this is all in the beta. So you do need to download the beta from Center Code if you want to get any of this stuff to work. These won't work on the normal live. And yeah, there's just like obvious little kinks and quirks and things that they'll have to figure out as they go along. But hey, it's like so cool. I'm stoked to see what people come up with and what kinds of workarounds and fixes people can. I'm curious about the sort of creative tools that people will make that I don't even know about. Like one thing that I'm really curious is like, can somebody like literally make like like an ARA style Melodyne or Vovius or Autotune type thing, or even though the Vocaline thing, that would be insane. Like if you could somehow like build Vocaline maybe into Ableton so you could just like highlight and like render offline. If somebody can make that, I don't know, I will pay you a lot.
I'll give you anything you want.
Yeah, that would be huge. That's the one thing that's keeping me, I don't know, like I still will sometimes cut vocals in Pro Tools just because it's 10 billion times faster to do vocal lining there. But yeah, anyway, that's just my 2 cents on all this stuff. I know there's probably a billion videos on this subject already, so, but I came out of hibernation just for this. So hopefully I can keep up, I don't know, do some more videos and stuff, just don't have time. But anyway, that's it. Peace.